commend the One Environment Hybrid, my brother Deforestation, and the people who have thought it very fit, because the momentum that has started with this One Environment Hybrid is highly commendable.
One Environment is just an organization we started with a couple of like-minded individuals and partners to promote this conversation on environmental sustainability.
My name is Cpdi. I'm the Executive Director, Environmental Art Collective Foundation, and also the Curator for One Environment. This year we had the One Environment Hybrid, and the theme for this year was Finding Your Identity. And what we did with the theme and with the One Environment Hybrid this year was to get people to start looking at various ways in their different fields, how they can be more sustainable, how they can be more organic in the different fields of endeavors, so that at the end of the day, we have a very secure, sustainable environment. It started by a photography exhibition at the German residence.
75% of the labour force is employed in...
And we partnered with the EU Climate Diplomacy Week.
I often find that youth are reluctant to work in the agricultural sector. I don't know whether this is true in Nigeria or not. It's not seen as being, modern. Okay, it's not seen as being progressive. It's seen as being, well, that's tough, that's hard work. And it's not modern. Maybe agriculture, as agriculture became modern and more productive, you might have more youth interested in it. But the natural consequence of being more productive, I think, is that you would, unless the whole extension of the area of land occupied, the natural tendency would be the number of people in agriculture would actually decline.
Put a leather over your head and covers your nostrils. No air penetrates. Suffocation, safe, in quotes, as she said, safe. He said, plastics do not leak. Abba now.
Most of the things here are made of plastic. Look at that trash down there. That trash bin. It's made of iron, yes, but inside the leather is made of plastic. True, of course. True. And we are saying we should ban plastics. Because most things we use here, we can't do without plastics in the area. Most of the things we use are made of plastics.
This year, we invited kids from different schools to come and debate. Some of the topics they debated on were, is industrialization good for the environment? And also, should plastic production be encouraged?
And you said something about reusing bottles. Half of us here, all of us here, we don't think of recycling. We just want to use and dump. That is it. We as Nigerians, we hardly recycle. India has 90% of recycling. We as Nigerians, I don't know if we have up to 40%.
You are in the school system, the education system. You're working with kids. Charity begins at home. Let's start educating the kids. The kids to educate their parents. The parents to talk to their friends about it, and so the story goes.
Of course, man, there are plastics everywhere. We got to ban them. But then when you really start doing research, you'll probably find out all of the uses of plastics in your society, as some of our students here have articulated. And you will also find out about possible ways for proper disposal. Of course, we do have the examples of positive countries throughout the continent and the world that are making great impact with the banning of these materials and have led to great improvements in their environment. So I hope the students have been able to open up the arguments on both sides, as well as the primary school students.
These are old materials, yes. Usually when the tailor finishes sewing,
They have loads of these, and then what do? They throw it away. Okay, so there's something called the Weavers Community in Abuja, where the tailors donate these things. They give them away to this community, and the community of women from really poor areas made these. What do you see there? Isn't that beautiful? So they make carpets, rugs, they make bags, they do different things with that which would have been thrown away.
And after that, I had an opening presentation talking about one environment and globalization, how globalization, vis-a-vis one environment, our environment, how does globalization and the environment work together?
A group of artists have come together to create an installation, a public installation with waste, which will be outside the British Council, so that people can actually see what you can do with waste. Not just about the art, we are just using art as an example, but the idea is that we want to be able to communicate this idea that waste as it is not really waste. There's always a second life to all these things. So we want to encourage people to think about recycling, upcycling, and reusing some of this waste.
And then in the evening, we started with the exhibition, the opening reception for the exhibition. Everything happened at the British Council. The second day, we had the GIZ, the German Foundation, make a presentation on the building energy efficiency, which they have been really working on in Nigeria, energy coding for Nigeria. They had a presentation on that.
We need the biodiversity for mankind to kind of survive, and this is behind all the efforts saving the climate, stopping climate change, doing something about environment. If this is a message which has to go out for everybody to understand, because life in cities without the environment around us, the milk must come from somewhere and the cow must live somewhere.
An increase in the number of people who are now using what we think of as low-hanging fruit. People for whom, if you switch them, you are switching actually large numbers of people, because they actually feed a lot of people.
Then Africa, which is an international non-governmental organization, came and also made a presentation.
Africa is a non-profit organization that's headquartered in the US. We've been in Nigeria since 1978, and we work on development issues with women in health, in agriculture, economic empowerment of women, as well as in water, sanitation, hygiene. We're moving into the nutrition space, and we work a lot with the young people in life skills. So the idea behind the work Africa does is really to increase the utilization of LPG in Nigeria. We're looking to increase awareness about the need for LPG, the opportunities in using LPG for the health status of the women, for the environment, but also the opportunities for women to engage in the LPG value chain. So it's not enough for women to use LPG to cook. They can also be retailers, they can be distributors, they can work as off-takers, they can certainly work as owners of gas plants. So in between all of that, there's a need also to ensure that there's safety. So we talked a lot about safety, and we certainly talked a lot about the opportunities that women will have going forward in this, the sort of new gas plant that's coming up, where people are going to be using LPG not just for cooking, but also as auto gas to power industry and to reduce the cost of living in general.
After that, we had the Community Planning and Design Initiative, Cpdi Africa, which is more of the built environment, how we can be more conscious and more indigenous in our architectural practices, especially in Africa.
And you don't want to see slums, you don't want to see people giving excuses or reasons why they can't find affordable housing. You don't want to hear people talking about, oh, it's so hot. Okay, you think it's a normal thing to bring a baby home from the hospital, the baby's covered in heat rash for the first 2 weeks, and then it finally goes away. You didn't think that maybe it shouldn't be so hot. Okay, why is it so hot? We're using cement. Why are we using cement? It's from those days. Those days have passed. Now we need to use our sense to create materials that actually keep us cool. After all, we are in Africa.
Most people in the country are thinking about how to source cheaper products, produce it in the cheapest way, and sell it at a high price. So they're not really thinking about any environmental issues that come with what they're doing. And when we buy, do we question where these things are coming from? No, we just buy based on price and also trends.
After that, we have the sustainable fashion, of how to be able to create sustainable fashion that in Africa and around the world.
So the concept of eco-fashion is known as also sustainable fashion. I think it's extremely important, but to think of reduce, reuse, and recycle. So reduce environmental degradation that comes with that. Try and reuse, as much as you can, and also recycle. So to achieve sustainability, you have to think about the environmental, like I've said so many times. You have to think about the social and also awareness. And you also have to think about the economic, which I believe is very strong in Nigeria, why we're not even thinking about the rest. Okay, so once you've achieved the three, that's how you get the sustainability, and this applies to the fashion industry.
Then how do we regain the forest in the Niger Delta? The Niger Delta happens to be a region where I come from. And the largest pristine tropical rainforest in the west coast of Africa exists in the Niger Delta, specifically in Cross River State of Nigeria.
Dr. Ode coming to discuss about the rainforest in Niger Delta, the superhighway that is, the Cross River State government is trying to build. We also had a discussion on that as well.
The superhighway is traversing the forest zone of Cross River State, in particular the national park. But sadly, Ben has acquired 5,200 square kilometers of land to build a 260-kilometer road. And that area of land is 2/10 of the size of Cross River State for a single road project. By that singular acquisition, over 180 communities have lost their traditional land holdings, their cultural and natural heritage. So you can imagine the impact socially, environmentally, and culturally.
The point is, why do we need a superhighway? That should be where we start. Are we getting the point? So if you don't deal with the fundamentals, if you're going for an EIA review, you're simply saying, okay, the process is all right, but we're saying you should actually check what the impact on the environment would be. So if the design was not actually done in the beginning, for instance, you have not dealt with all the stakeholders. You have not had a stakeholders analysis, for instance, to understand why you would even need a superhighway before you even begin to talk about the environmental impact of having one. So when stakeholders begin to go for environmental impact assessment meetings, you are saying it's okay, it's just that certain things have not been done well.
I've been to Cross River, particularly to Afi, where they have the previous workings, and I think it's very nice. And you'd be crying shame to see that go away for the reason of a superhighway. But that's not really where. My question is as regards to what you talked about logging. I just wanted to find out, I don't know if there is like documents that state how much logs or how much wood we use here in Nigeria, because quite a number of the wood is actually imported, like taken out of the country. There's still people internationally who have their eyes on the Nigerian market and on our wood. So you hear about like deforestation and all of that, and there's so much noise in the international circle about, not cutting down trees and all of that. But then you have the moguls who come into the country and say, hey, we want wood.
Two things we're trying to promote now to take transboundary conservation to the next level. One is to create working through UNESCO to get international recognition for what we're trying to do. And there are two ways to do that. One is to create a biosphere reserve, and the other one is to create a World Heritage Site. And we're trying to do both of those concurrently. And we're proposing 2 new transboundary biosphere reserves. One in northern Cross River State, the Cross River Gorilla Transboundary Biosphere Reserve, and one in southern Cross River State, the Cross River Korup Rainforest Transboundary Biosphere Reserve.
We work to save Nigeria's wild animals and wild places. So our focus is on the Cross River gorilla, the lion, elephants and chimpanzees. So we work in Cross River State and in Bauchi State to save those animals from extinction in Nigeria. It's a difficult job, but we've successfully reduced levels of hunting. So we're working with National Park Service and with the state government. We've managed to reduce hunting in some of those areas that we work, but hunting is still going on, illegal logging is still going on, but we've made some successes. But it's a long-term project. It needs long-term commitment.
We had the EU Deputy High Commissioner, Ambassador Richard Young, come talk about the EU Africa Youth Summit coming up in Abidjan, and he focused on energy and agriculture. And also we had the MD of LPG from NNPC come talk about LPG utilization, the expansion across Nigeria. And also in the panel discussion, we also had Brenda, who is the SA to the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum.
Of course, as I've given in this panel, meeting an environmental objective to stop the devastation and degradation. One is in the Niger Delta region. The second, of course, is in the northeast and the northern itself, with the deforestation. That's what, essentially in line with what we're doing here today. But the ministry has a broad program, just to redevelop the oil and gas industry, make Nigeria not fixated on short-term hydrocarbon sales, but value-adding using gas, which clearly environmentally is more impactful. It's a cheaper source of energy, cleaner fuel for the Nigerian people as well.
This LPG is gotten just from cracking. When you put crude oil inside a pot and you heat it, you don't add any chemical. Continue to heat it, the temperature will rise. Eventually you will start seeing gas coming out because that's the lighter end. That's how LPG is gotten. We talk about the uses. You are all aware of the uses. The common uses, we use it for cooking. But in most countries, we use it to drive our engines, we use it to drive our generators, we use it in so many applications. For our wives and our sisters, the commonly used is for cooking. Then we are all aware that Nigeria, despite the fact that we are more of a gas country than the white product, we use kerosene and firewood as cooking fuel.
And after that, we had the African Environment Action Network, which is being headed by Dr. Victor Fodeke. And after that, we did have a more interactive session where people, like an open presentation, people were able to ask questions, also give some impromptu suggestions to, further the discussion, the conversation on the environment.
85% of deforestation in Nigeria today, according to the World Bank, is contributed by cutting down trees for cooking. Are you surprised? How many of you have heard that before? 85% of deforestation comes from that is reducing our forests for cutting down trees. If you see what people do, they show the status of their wealth by the big heaps of trees they can cut. If you want to get married, you have to produce, some amount of firewood. Now, and this is becoming very important because you will all realize the fact that Nigeria has taken a step to be a part of the global climate solution through the Paris Agreement of COP21. And I'm very proud
friend of mine actually does composting. So we don't throw away food waste at home. So anything we have, any leftovers, I just collect it. And he comes once in a while to collect it. He doesn't come every day. So sometimes I have to put it in the freezer and everybody's like, oh, your waste is occupying space. Just because I want to reduce the amount of waste I throw away. So I collect this waste and then he collects it. And he has a small garden where he does his composting and he puts that waste into his garden. So it makes it organic. So whatever he has there, the fruits, the food, the vegetables that come from there are all organic. And this is organic waste. So most time what happens?
I mean, we pay the price for the dirty fuel. So we can get some maybe like, I don't know, some beneficial technological transfer partnerships where we don't have to pay much for the technology. I mean, you have plastic houses, bricks made from plastics, from upcycled bottles. You have biogas, little compost makers. I think that was like a crowd-funded project. It's $1,199 a unit. You can put in your kitchen and make compost. How can we get those technologies to Africa and Nigeria cheaply? It doesn't cost us much. Yeah, just jumpstart the process. Thank you.
One thing that we know already is that all this technology needs battery, and battery, we don't know how to recycle them, and even the solar panel is very hard to recycle. So maybe that should be one of the research and high technology projects that Nigeria can develop for us all. Another thing is you are talking about reducing the...
Honestly, for me, I think there is a bit of confusion, we haven't thought through a lot of the issues that we are pushing out there. Is that we are believing that there is some effect or affectation of climate change, or we're not believing it. If we are believing that there is such a thing as, climate change and it is affecting us in one way, and we should therefore not use certain things, then you cannot be encouraging, the people to continue to go and use certain products that are, encouraging that so-called, Thank you.
So let's see. Wow, you're doing really well. Very good. So keep it tight.
We have the Czech embassy, who has been very supportive for One Environment. They had a workshop for kids called Discover Your Environment. And what they did was to bring a couple of schools within Abuja to come and interact with so many artists working on environmental art. It was a very interactive afternoon session for the kids, and they were able to learn, one of the few things they were able to learn were even how to dispose their waste very, very well, how to recycle their waste, how to be more environmental conscious and environmental friendly. So that's what we did with the Czech embassy.
So we say one environment and the climate diplomacy. Start.
One Environment for us this year is more exciting because we had more partners, more organizations, more embassies. The EU as a body came on board. We partnered with them on the Climate Diplomacy Week, and we had more individuals coming. We had more participants coming, and it was for us a more exciting event this year. And then we also had the music concert, which we used to close up the whole week, which was sponsored by Byzantine Energy. And what we did with that was, because when you talk about music, a lot of people are very interested in music as a social platform. So we had a lot of people coming for the music concert, and then we used that platform to also promote the conversation on environmental sustainability. So for us this year, it's been a very exciting one, and we also used the opportunity to launch a project that has been very dear to us called the Cow Dung Master Plan. Branding. To be honest, when we started this project, I just call it what it is. I call it Cow Dung Bricks. I think it was in Edinburgh when we went for Maker Library Conference. That, you know, I did a presentation, and one of the people said, no, you can't call it Cow Dung again. Give it a name, call it Bio Bricks. That's when we started calling it Bio Bricks. And what we do with the Cow Dung Master Plan is to show the many benefits of cow dung. You know, how we could apply cow dung to various usages, from making firewood, from generating electricity, from building houses, you know, making bio bricks, as we call that, and quite a whole lot of other usages of cow dung. So we launched that out, and we're trying to see how we're pushing it into rural areas where the cow dungs are available, but then they don't know what to do with this cow dung. Most of them don't even know it's manure. That's what I'm saying. This is our culture. If you really research, most of us here, maybe our great-grandfather or way back have used cow dung. It's something that we all, it's Africa, it's our culture. You know, but like I said before, idea about civilization, you know, trying to import everything that we consume has been able to deny and to distance some of these cultures away from us. It's not that we don't know them, they have been there. We're not pioneering, we're not bringing out anything new. We're just saying, look, can we start to rethink how to sustain our environment?
It's been great, really impactful. I've learned a lot on this because there are a lot of things I've really overlooked that this program has really exposed and has given me a wake-up call. And I think since I work in the development sector, there are a lot I'm taking home back to my immediate environment.
And it's really been an exciting experience, especially serving as a volunteer, meeting people, getting to have knowledge of how things can be recycled, on cycle, and what did they say again? Really need to hear Ify. It's been fantastic. Oge, Ruth, so many people here. It's been really a wonderful time, and I thank God for bringing us this far.
You know, so far so good. It's been very informative. You know, it's been educative as well. You know, imagine finding out the parks on the airport road is, you know, up and running, and it's something to behold. And you know, we need to raise the awareness. A lot of sensitization needs to be done in that respect and everything. People need to know, you know, and we need to care for our environment. It's not just about, you know, eating and drinking and surviving.
You know, it was very interactive. Today we had Ife Sinachi right here talking about cow dung, you know, having maybe some useful products from cow dung. We talked about sustainable architecture, making houses using native African building concepts. So by and large, we've had fun. We've learned a lot from being here. You know, my partner and I, we are like in the same NGO.
Yeah.
We work with supporting the environment.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you about it.
I was seeing lovely artworks used from recycled materials, upcycling, very interesting stuff. Stuff I'd never imagined on my own, but just seeing it, I was so wow.
We're happy because the whole essence of One Environment has always been to promote the idea on environmentalism as it is, and to get more people embrace sustainable lifestyle, work with kids, go to communities, plant more trees, use some of the waste that we generate every day, recycle them, upcycle them to something more beneficial, and just be able to develop a community where everybody is environmentally conscious.